Hi everyone and welcome. We'll just give it another minute or two just in case we have anyone else join us. All right, brilliant. Well, we'll make a start. It's a nice small group tonight, so it's nice and cozy, and we really appreciate you joining us tonight. It's great to have the opportunity to connect with you guys. Look, on behalf of the Good Sports program and the Good Sports team in Tassie particularly, we hope that you and your families are keeping safe and healthy and well during this interesting time in our lives. The Good Sports program have had a number of conversations with community sporting clubs over the past couple of months. We recently did a survey nationally with Good Sports clubs to get a bit more of an understanding of the needs and opportunities at this point in time. And the team in Tassie, the Good Sports team in Tassie, have also been having conversations on a daily basis with the Good Sports club. So look, hopefully what we present to you tonight is of use to you in terms of the information and resources. This is only the start of the conversation. And so your Good Sports relationship manager, who is Hugh Graham, he will touch base with each of you following this forum. He is an apology this evening, but he does look forward to catching up with you and talking through this information and resources, hopefully that is of use to you, not just in this time, but in the long term as well. So my name is Steph Maculaitis. I'm the Acting Regional Community Development Manager for the Good Sports team in Tassie, and my co-presenter tonight is Shay Collis, who is one of two Good Sports relationship managers in Tasmania. So I'll pass on to Shay to to introduce herself and to do acknowledgement of country.
Thank you, Steph, and hello everyone. So as Stephanie said, my name is Shay Collis and I'm the Relationship Manager for Good Sports Clubs in North and Northwest Tasmania. I'm also going to be co-presenting tonight in Hugh's absence. So we would like to pay our respects to Aboriginal people who are the traditional owners of the lands on which we're all meeting today, and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. Also paying our respects to any Aboriginal people who might be in the meeting tonight.
Brilliant, thanks Shay. So look, in terms of tonight's agenda, we'll talk a little bit about the Alcohol and Drug Foundation and a bit of a refresher on the Good Sports program. Shay will talk to a couple of key topics that we're hearing are of relevance at the moment for community sporting clubs, and that's around social media and mental health. We're seeing some really awesome examples of Tassie clubs reaching out and communicating and connecting with their club members through social media. So Shay will provide a few examples around that, including some tips and resources. She'll also touch on mental health, which is a big topic at the moment, right around the country and the world, really. So one of the beauties of the Good Sports program is in Tasmania is we also have the Healthy Minds program. So that's around helping clubs and volunteers around how to have inclusive and open conversations around mental health, implementing a mental health policy, as well as knowing what to do to connect people with relevant professionals within the community, such as mental health practitioners, GPs, etc. And finally, I'll touch on some of the online learning modules that the Alcohol and Drug Foundation have developed specifically for sporting clubs. So look, in terms of tonight, feel free to use the chat function to ask questions, make comments. We'd love to hear from you. Look, we won't go any longer than 40 minutes, but we're happy to stick around and touch base with you following the presentation. Thanks, Shay. Cool. So the Alcohol and Drug Foundation, we recently celebrated our 60-year anniversary. The organisation was established back in 1959 as a coordinated response to the increased use of alcohol following the war. So the focus of the organisation back then was really around treatment and research and education. But today we're Australia's leading organisation committed to preventing and minimising the harm caused by alcohol and other drugs. And look, the work that we do is at the community level, and our policies and our practices and our programs, such as the Good Sports program, is really focused around building the capacity of communities to make change. Thanks, Shay. So why our work is important. So you'll see there's some stats there, which I won't talk through, but it shows here that alcohol and drug use does cause significant harms within communities. And it's interesting to note in this time that we're living in, that some of these stats are shifting slightly. So for instance, we're seeing less hospitalisations as a result of the nightlife, because pubs and clubs and so forth are closed. However, there are increasing concerns around the increased use of alcohol in the home as a coping mechanism as a result of social isolation and other pressures. But what's interesting about these statistics and what they have in common is that they are preventable. And the work that we do at the Alcohol and Drug Foundation is really focused around building strong and connected communities, such as sporting club environments, because we know that can prevent alcohol and other drug-related harms. So what is Good Sport? So the Good Sports program has been around for 2 decades now, and essentially what it's trying to achieve is to help clubs do their best and build healthy and safe and stronger club environments. And this is why we're Australia's largest and longest running health initiative in community sport. So the team in Tassie works with clubs through 3 levels of the program, and these levels have been designed to support long-term change. So for instance, around responsible alcohol management, safe transport, and promoting smoke-free environments. We also offer programs around nutrition, junior role modelling, managing illegal drugs, and promoting positive mental health. The program is free and it's designed for busy volunteers. We certainly understand and acknowledge the great and amazing things that you guys do as volunteers, but also acknowledge that volunteers are very time poor. So the Good Sports program really helps to address this. Each club gets their own Good Sports relationship manager. In your guys' case, it's Hugh. Who talks through the components and the resources available through Good Sports. So across the country, we've got nearly 10,000 Good Sports clubs, and in Tassie, we've got nearly 500, which essentially is about 2/3 of clubs across Tasmania. So we've got a fairly solid reach into the world of community sport, and we try to work closely and learn from all sporting codes. So the benefits of Good Sports, and this is according to clubs themselves, it makes the club more family friendly, gives the club a better profile when applying for grants, encourages both members and sponsors to come on board, make people more aware of their behaviour, and help clubs work through the tricky paperwork, such as developing and implementing club policies. So we recently did a randomised control trial of the Good Sports program, and it came back with some really fantastic results. So it showed a 42% decrease in alcohol-related incidents and a 37% decrease in risky drinking. So this really goes to show that the Good Sports program works. It does create safe and family-friendly environments, which essentially reduces the risk of harm within the community. So we're really lucky in Tasmania in that within the Good Sports umbrella, we have 5 programs. So we have our core alcohol program, which works around preventing harms associated with alcohol, and it looks at things like safe transport strategies and promoting smoke-free environments. We also have a nutrition program. So that's really around helping clubs around nutrition in their canteens. So it provides it provides opportunities like organising for club members to do food safety training. It helps clubs with canteen menus as well as healthy club fundraising. We've got our Healthy Minds program, which, like I mentioned earlier, is around mental health, which Shay will talk to in a moment, but that's really around promoting positive mental health and having open and inclusive conversations within the clubs. We have our illegal drugs program. So this is around helping clubs to get better prepared to address drug-related issues. So we have tools and resources, and we help clubs with developing and implementing an illegal drug policy. The program itself doesn't convey the message that there is a drug problem within the club. It is from a more of a prevention lens and setting the club up in case there is an issue that arises around drugs. And then finally, we have the junior program. So this equips clubs with tools and resources to promote the right attitudes and role modelling behaviours around juniors. We know that young people pick up a lot of information really easily, and they're very easily influenced by role models and those around them. So Good Sports Junior helps to promote healthy behaviours for everyone at the club, particularly for juniors. So how we can work with you. So in these current times that we're living in, Hugh particularly has been touching base with clubs either via phone and Zoom, and he would be more than happy to do that with yourselves or with the wider committee. And he can help support you to complete your annual accreditation, assist you with reviewing and implementing policies, and providing electronic resources, including the ones that we'll be sharing with you this evening. So we have a video here, and this is just based on interviews from clubs themselves talking about good sports.
The role that the club plays in the community is it gives an opportunity for children to not only play sport, but they get to mix socially with other people. They get to learn life values, and I think it brings the community together. The wings just spread and it just keeps going. Yeah, so it's a domino effect.
To be a part of a Good Sports program is really important to us. We certainly are a family-friendly club, so people can recognise that we're an alcohol-free zone for the juniors. We are a smoke-free zone, and everything is in the best interest of our children and our players.
It gives the club a better profile when going for grants, but also just about improving the environment for the families. And by improving the environment for families, we encourage more members to come on board as well.
To me, it's about the culture of the club. It just makes people aware about healthy options, drinking in moderation, that type of thing, and then obviously stepping up the levels like we have, you got to also implement that. You can't just talk about it.
With the Good Sports program, they've helped us to look at our food options in our canteen and drinking of water. I'm a full-time working person and I don't have time to read all the policies and regulations, so it's good to have someone help you through the process.
I would recommend Good Sports to any sporting club if they want a direction in their club, easy steps, procedures, awareness and lots of help and information available, which was wonderful.
My advice to other clubs is to definitely get involved, and you'll see improvements in your club and improvements as far as sponsors coming in and members participating in the club. So get involved and have a go.
Thank you, Steph. So I'm going to take over now and talk to you firstly about social media and marketing your club. In this section, we're going to talk about why it's important that clubs use social media, ways that you can think about getting started in social media, how to plan your posts, and considerations in ways to grow your audience. So why should clubs use social media? Social media is a really great way for clubs to share updates with their members, facilitate conversations, and also continue to engage with their members and the wider community. Alongside this, you can promote your activities, news and resources, and get people visiting your other club websites, maybe signing up to your newsletter or anything like that. and then again, just connecting with your community. So when getting started with social media, there's a number of different things to consider and planning your social media page. The first of those is thinking about finding someone to manage your club's social media page and what sort of capacity they have to manage it. So it might not even be a committee member that you feel can take charge of your page. You might have a young person or maybe even a member of the club that's a senior player that is really technologically savvy and would be keen on taking over the social media page. It's really important to only have 1 or 2 people in charge of your club's social media page so that you can be organised and you can feel like it's an organised and set activity that you don't have to stress about at all. The next thing to consider is what sort of updates you're going to be sharing on your social media page. So you should be sharing things that are going on currently, like behind the scenes, flashbacks, exercise tips and competitions. And then you can also share future updates of things that might be upcoming. So whether your season's about to start again, you're commencing training, you have any events coming up or fixtures, or even things on game day like wins, best player, etc., if they ever occur in the future. You then need to think about your language and the tone that you're going to use in your posts. Your social media is an extension of your club, and the messaging that you promote on your club's social media page should reflect the messaging that your club wants to portray. For example, the Good Sports social media page is full of positive and encouraging and inclusive messages because that's what the Good Sports brand is all about: positivity, inclusiveness, and encouraging participation. So really consider what sort of posts you're putting on your club's social media page and recognise that they're representing you as in the wider community. And then the final thing to consider is what sort of format you'll be using in your posts. Are you going to post photos? Are you going to post videos? And are you going to post links? When posting on social media, it's important to acknowledge that a person might have a lower attention span. So posting really text-heavy posts or really long videos might not be a really great way of engaging. It's important to consider keeping them short and concise, but also interactive and informative. So it's a really great thing to do is considering planning your posts on social media. This way you can set aside 5 minutes a day to manage the club's social media page, posting items online, and you don't have to think about spending 20 minutes to find content and post or trying to figure out what you're going to do on that day. So in our Good Sports social media toolkit, we actually have a table, as you can see down here, which can help people to plan the things that they're going to post on their club's social media page. So when it does come to the day, you can jump on, you can see what you've got planned to post, and you can post that straight away, and then you can get back on with your day. So it's a really handy way of doing that and saving time, but also just knowing, again, back to the messaging of what you're promoting as your club. If you know what sort of things you're posting over the next few days, you know exactly what sort of themes you're carrying out as a club and what sort of messaging you're promoting. You can share content from yourself, which is creating new content, such as the current updates and the future updates that I touched on before, but you can also share content from others. So you don't need to be constantly creating your own content to be sharing on your social media page. You can be sharing content from pages like your state sporting organisation or your national body, your leagues, councils, other sporting organisations, for example, the Good Sports Facebook page, Community Sport and Recreation, etc., or even government channels. All of these sorts of organisations and pages are sharing really important updates that would be relevant to your members that you can directly share from their Facebook pages to keep your members engaged and represented by your club. So there's a potential risk at the moment during COVID-19 and isolation about increased alcohol consumption and the harms that come along with that. So we've actually designed a specific social media toolkit around promoting safe alcohol consumption messaging that we have available for clubs to use on their club's social media page should you wish to access them. So as you can see here from the screenshots, it's really clear messaging that clubs can put on their social media page, just promoting safe drinking guidelines and the fact of the benefits of not consuming alcohol throughout these times. So it's really important to consider these sorts of messages as well on your club's social media page. And we will be sending out the toolkit post this so that you can share this message with your clubs should you wish. So what sort of things can you post as a club on your social media page? So it doesn't just have to be things about the game or things about your club. You can consider getting outside the box and posting other things to keep people engaged with your club social media page. Posting things like video coaching drills. So that could either be coaching drills that your coaches have developed yourself, or training regimes, or even finding ones from celebrities or online YouTube videos, etc., that you can share with your members and say, this week's challenge, 5-minute exercise activity, here you go. You could post things like online challenges, encouraging people to share their own videos in the comments, or maybe have a group so people can share their own videos in the group. And those challenges could be maybe learning a new skill, or trying to see who can, kick the longest goal or dribble the basketball the longest, or even just funny challenges like trying to stack a house of cards and make the tallest deck or something like that. You can put polls and questions for your members to answer back. So it might be, what was your favourite memory of the game last year? Or do you prefer salad rolls or sausage rolls or anything like that? Ways of creating that conversation with your members. You can post member profiles or get to know me posts. So you might start with your coaches or committee members and get to know, the people behind the scenes in your club and learn a bit more about them. Or you could even do player highlights of your junior and senior players on your social media channel. And that's a really great way of highlighting the people in your club and making them feel like a valued member of your community. You could host things like online tournaments. So there's a few different online tournaments, things like Football Federation and other sporting codes have got that you can engage in, or even things like video games for the younger teams that you can post online and stream throughout the club. You can do flashbacks to your club's history and encouraging people to share in their own stories or photos of things that have happened in the past at your club. Or you could find your own stories and photos to share around the club's history and educating those newer members that might not know that much. And you can also host things like online video catch-ups through Zoom, for example, having things like trivia nights, virtual dinners, ping pong over Skype, etc. So there's a number of different things that you can post on your social media channel that you might not have considered being relevant before, that are definitely relevant, that you can relate to your members and have as ways of keeping them engaged. So how can you grow your community? There's a few different things that you can do to grow your community on social media. Things like inviting club members to follow or like your page. So you might be sharing it to your own social media page or asking your members to share it to your own social media page. As well as when you have events and game days, you might be promoting your social media page and encouraging everybody to jump on Facebook, for example, and like your page or join your group. You could put your social media page in a link in your newsletter. You can have it on your website, and you could even send around an email or a text message promoting access to it through that. The next thing you should consider is sharing your content regularly. So making sure that you're constantly sharing things on your social media page so it's appearing in your members' news feeds. The more you share and the more engaging that your posts are, the more notice you'll get from the outside community and the more followers that you will gain. It's really important to set aside time every day to check and update your social media page, and especially acknowledging the people that are commenting on your social media page and replying to them where necessary. If you can engage in that conversation, which is the next step, starting conversations in line, if you can engage in that conversation and keep members coming back to talk to you guys, then that will also make your club appear more in people's feeds, and that will again grow your community. So what are some other great things that clubs are sharing? Now I've got 3 examples on the screen here of Tasmanian clubs that have been sharing some really great updates with their members. These are really good things that you could be doing, but please don't feel intimidated if you don't have the capacity to do these sorts of things. It's just some examples of ideas of things that you can do. So the first one is South Hobart Football Club. South Hobart Football Club hosted a Zoom catch-up with their young team members, and as you can see, they've posted a screenshot of that. Everyone's happy and having a conversation, and they said how they miss their friends and their football, and they're really looking forward to restarting playing. So that's a really great way of showing that you're committed to your junior members, you're engaging with your team, etc. In the middle, we have Redpath Football Club. Redpath Football Club put a post up in their group saying that they love their family and they're missing them all and hoping they're staying safe, and they'd love everybody to post a photo of them either from the past or the present in their Redpath Football Club gear. And as you can see, they had a fair few comments of members commenting photos and memories and videos of the club. And then finally, Canterbury Hockey Club. So Canterbury Hockey Club took this time to promote some new mental health welfare officers that they've engaged to the club, and they've put up the contact numbers of those mental health welfare officers and said that they're available for members. So that's promoting the support channels that the club has available for their members throughout this time, which is also another really important thing and a really great way of engaging with their club members. On the other hand, it's also really important to consider what you should not be posting on your club's social media page. So your club's social media is your brand. It is an extension of your club, and it's really important to consider what sort of messages you're promoting to your community. So some examples of negative content could include videos of beer sculling or drinking games, things like beer pong tournaments, etc. Photos of underage drinking or really inappropriate drinking when underages are present. For example, say men tipping alcohol over each other in the change rooms after they've won a game, and then there's a little child standing next to their father having alcohol tipped all over their head. Not a very good look. Humorous posts about inappropriate alcohol consumption and inappropriate jokes and memes. It's also really important to consider what's being posted in the comments of your social media channel and just monitoring that that's always appropriate as well. Understanding that there is often banter between players, it is really important to just promote within your players that you are representing the club, you're commenting on the club's social media page, and everything should be within the brand guidelines of your club. And so, for example, you want that to be positive and engaging and inclusive, and just consider that you might have sponsors or council workers or supporters having a look at that, even your junior families that you might be role modelling. Do you want to be sending inappropriate messaging or do you want to be sending appropriate messaging? So it's just something to keep in mind. So that's all that I've got to say on the social media branch. We will be sending out our social media and promotional toolkits after this, just for some more information, and they do contain things like planning your posts and growing your community, as well as copies of the tiles that you can post on your social media pages, should you wish. Nextly, I'm going to jump over to talk about mental health and your club. So I'm going to touch on what is mental health, how your club can promote help seeking, social media posts that you can share that are specific to mental health, what sort of mental health resources we have available for clubs, where you can go for support, and the importance of staying connected with your members. So mental health is defined by the World Health Organization as a state of well-being in which every individual realizes his or her own potential, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. And it's really important to acknowledge that throughout these past few months, people might have been facing challenges with their mental health, especially when considering this definition. So people being able to realise their own potential, cope with normal stresses of life, and feel that they're making a contribution and working productively might not have been something that the average individual felt that they could face right now, especially when people were facing no sport, no jobs, etc. So mental health is a really important topic to be considering right now. And I think now is a really great time to think about how your club could be supporting your members, or how you might take the next step in working towards a better mental health promotion within your club. So how is mental health right now? The ABC recently conducted a study and they found a number of alarming things. The number of Australians that are reporting poor mental health has more than doubled compared to that of a month ago. The number of frequently feeling despair has more than tripled, and those frequently feeling confusion is up more than 5 times. So this just leads in from what I was saying, that mental health right now is a really important topic, and lots of people may be facing challenges and they might not realise that they're facing these challenges. So if we can empower clubs to have the support services and the basic information available to them, should something occur, you know where to send your members for help and you know how to promote that safe messaging. So as a club, how can you promote help seeking? There's several different things that you can do right now as clubs to support your members' mental health and to promote help-seeking behaviours, and especially utilising your social media channel. The first of those is just promoting general mental health suggestions. So we have a number of Good Sports social media messages and posters that clubs can share, which touch on positive mental health, self-care, checking with your mates, etc. You can also publish the support service contact information for members that might require further support. So that's posting things like the contact numbers of telephone helplines, text services, online websites where they might like to go to find more information. You can share positive good news stories through your social media accounts. So acknowledging that there is a lot of negative media going around right now, and you'd like your social media page to be a positive space where your members can enjoy coming to read the content. So consider sharing positive good news stories or happy facts or happy memories on your social media page to keep that energy really positive. And then finally, encouraging your members to reach out to other specific members, whether that be your club's chaplain, welfare officer, your coach, or even just each other if they're feeling isolated. So really encouraging that conversation between your members. So as I said, Good Sports do have some mental health themed social media posts, and you can see an example of this is on the screen right now. So we basically have a photo with a hashtag, which is about the topic. So this one's about self-care. And then we have some text, as you can see on the left, which clubs can copy and paste directly onto their social media page. And this is a really simple activity. It would take about 5 minutes to load them all up on there, or you can schedule a post. And that's a really great way of just promoting a really simple mental health message for your members, which is effortless and really helpful. We also have some other support posters to share. These are available in a printout format. So if you do return back to your sport and you want copies to post on the wall, let us know, we can send them to you. And we've also adapted them to be in social media format as well, so that you can upload the image to your social media page. The first of these is mental health support numbers. So it says that mental health problems like depression and anxiety can affect anyone. If you're feeling worried, please reach out. And it says for help in crises and then support and information. So it's got the contact details there of services that your members can utilise if they feel the need for that extra support. And then on the right-hand side, we have our Supporting Mental Health Conversations poster. Now, this poster was developed in conjunction with Speak Up Stay Chatty, who are a mental health organisation here in Tasmania. And basically what we've done is outlined the skeleton of having a conversation around mental health. Often people might feel like they don't want to say the wrong thing, or they're not sure what to ask or how to speak. So this poster breaks down the 4 key pillars of having a mental health conversation. The first of those being asking, so opening up the avenue of conversation and checking in with that person and letting them know that you're there to listen. So you might say, you seem off your game, how are you been, are you okay, how's your family, etc. So really just starting the conversation. The second component is understanding. So when they give you a reply, trying to figure out what you can ask them, open-ended, empathetic questions that will continue the conversation and give you a better understanding of what might be going on. How long have you been feeling this way? Is there something that's making you feel this way, etc. Are really great questions to give you a better understanding of the situation. The third component is referring. So it might be that the person doesn't need to be referred to anybody. They might just need to go and be with their thoughts and they're happy with the conversation that they've had. But you also might feel like you need to refer that person to someone else for more specific support, acknowledging that you're not a professional and it's not your role as a club to be diagnosing people or providing specific mental health diagnosis or treatment around mental health and mental illness. So places you could refer a person to might be their GP, it might be a help and crisis line, it might be an online website for more information, or even just encouraging them to reach out to another family member or another friend if you feel that's necessary. And then the fourth really important component is checking in. So once you've had that conversation initially and they've gone off and they've done what they said they were going to do, or it's been a week since you've seen them, really important to check in with that person again and just simply say things like, how are you going since we last spoke? Are you feeling any better today? Did you go to your GP? How was the appointment? Anything like that. And that can really reiterate the support that you have there for that person and the fact that you are committed and you understand and you care and they're a valued member in your community. So that there's just a really skeleton, basic way of having a conversation around mental health. And it's a guide that we've developed so that anybody can feel empowered to have that conversation and to not be frightened by it. So where can you refer people to support for their mental health? There's a number of services that we've got listed on the screen here, and this is just the start of it. There's a number of other services online available that can provide information, telephone counselling, online chats, etc. There's a whole world of knowledge out there, really at the tip of your hands if you would just jump online and Google. But these ones here are really valuable and really legitimate support services that are probably the best to support and promote to your club members. The first of those being the Drug Info line. So Drug Info is actually a service provided by the Alcohol and Drug Foundation, who run the Good Sports program. And Drug Info provide confidential, non-judgmental alcohol and other drug telephone and email information and referrals for any individual. And we then have Beyond Blue. Beyond Blue have a really great website with lots of different information pamphlets and handouts. And they also have a mental wellbeing and support service that you can phone up and gain telephone support from. There's then Lifeline. Lifeline provide a national service which has access to 24-hour crisis support and suicide prevention services. Lifeline also do have a texting line which is available for a few hours of a night time for people that feel like they're not comfortable speaking on the phone and they would rather text somebody, and they can text a professional about what's going on and talk about that more. There's then Men's Line. Men's Line are dedicated to providing free help, support, referrals and counselling for men specifically. And then finally Headspace, who provide information and support specifically to young people, their parents and carers. So it's really important to consider everything that we've talked about tonight and to consider promoting the message of staying connected with your members. So it's really important to strive to stay connected to your club and your community and promoting communication between your members, especially in these times of physical distancing. It's really important. In the bottom right, you can see a little screenshot here from the Beyond Blue. I actually took this from their social media page, and it's something that your club might like to share from social media pages. So when you're considering sharing, you might even look up other mental health organisations like Beyond Blue, Lifeline, Black Dog Institute, etc. And you can share their content to your social media pages as well. So this one here really simply just says, remember to reach out to your friends and colleagues who get it. You don't have to face these feelings alone. And that's a really simple way of just saying, check in with your mates, you're not alone, we're here for you, and we want you to stay connected. So that's all that I've got on the mental health front. I'm going to hand back over to Steph to chat about some online modules that Good Sports have.
Brilliant. Thanks, Shay. That was really great. I really like that conversations poster. I think it's a really important tool right now. They're not just for clubs to use, but people to just use on a day-to-day basis. So thank you. Look, I just want to talk briefly about a couple of online modules that the Alcohol and Drug Foundation's Good Sports program has developed specifically for sporting clubs. So there's two online learning modules. They both go for about 15 minutes each, and Hugh will be sharing these with you over the next couple of days in addition to the other resources that Shay has spoken to this evening. So the first one is around alcohol management. So that's around managing alcohol consumption at your club, learning about the risks associated with alcohol consumption, and managing intoxicated people. So this is a useful module, not just for you guys and the committee, but for all club members in general. And it's particularly useful for those for functions such as those end of year club functions. We're at the ADF, we're certainly not about prohibition, but it is really important to learn about managing alcohol consumption, particularly excessive alcohol consumption, because that can really minimise the risks associated with any harms. Then we have the Tackling Illegal Drugs module. So this is focused around what to do if there's a drug incident in your club, the different types of drugs that members may encounter, the effects of drugs on the brain and body. And as I alluded to earlier in the webinar, the Tackling Illegal Drugs problem doesn't convey the message that there is, that clubs do have a problem around illegal drugs. This is a good educative module that can really help increase club members' understanding of drugs and how clubs can go about managing any issues.
Thank you, Steph. So that brings us to the end of the presentation and the content. And I think that what we would like to do is just really empower you with 4 simple things that you can do from here as a club. I know that it might feel like there's been a lot that we've touched on and you might be kind of feeling really overwhelmed or not sure where to go from here. So we've really simplified the process just so that we can make it really easy for you and really a simple and less confronting way of working through this. So the first thing that you should be considering is organising a meeting with your Good Sports relationship manager. So in this instance, that's Hugh. Hugh can meet with you. He can talk about your Good Sports accreditation, where your club's currently at, if you might like to engage in any of the other programs that we have available, if you're needing extra support with your policies or your social media, etc. We're available to do that completely with you. The second thing is reviewing your social media approach. So you might be a club that's really active on social media and you want to review your posts and you want to review the messaging that you're promoting and consider planning posts in the future or what you're going to share in the future. Or you might be a club that's not very active on social media because you wasn't really sure or you didn't have the right person in charge of it. And you might like to think about setting the right person in charge and planning your post and considering how you're going to promote your social media channel. So reviewing that social media approach is a really great way of solidifying that connection with members, especially throughout these times where you might be sharing lots of updates around what's going on and things are constantly changing. The third of these being promoting help seeking to your members. So as we said, mental health is a really important topic right now, and your club should be promoting positive mental health messaging and the importance of staying connected. So whether it be utilising our Good Sports mental health social media posts, sharing stuff from others, or even developing your own content, just talking about the importance of checking in and promoting that help seeking and self-care messaging. And then fourthly, thinking about completing an online learning module. Maybe you'd like to complete them both yourself and see what you thought about them before you shared them on with your club members. Your committee might like to sit down and go through the online learning module together, and you can talk about how that felt and what that might look like in your club. Or you could post it even to your social media page and encourage your members to complete it themselves. And then you might come back to a training or just encourage people to post their thoughts in the comments there. So there are 4 very simple things that you can do just to get the process started, but definitely reach out to Hugh and have a chat with him. He will be emailing you post the webinar with the resources that we talked about, etc. And he'll be able to support you to get the ball started. There's no race in this. There's no one club is better than the other, etc. It really is taking it at your own journey and at your own pace within your own club's capabilities. So please don't feel that you're not as worthy or anything like that as another club, because we're definitely here to support all clubs no matter where you're at in the journey. So there's details on the screen here for myself, and as I said, I'm North and Northwest Tasmania. If you know any clubs that are in those areas that you think might benefit from Good Sports that are engaged, feel free to take my details and pass them on. And then there's also the details for Hugh down there under Southern Tasmania. As I said, he's your relationship manager, so really your go-to person. Unfortunately couldn't be here tonight, but he is happy to support you and answer any of your calls or questions, and would love to meet with your club. We will open up now if you have any questions for either myself or Steph. You can utilise the chat function, you can unmute yourself and ask away. We'll stick around for a couple of minutes. If not, thank you so much for attending, taking the time out of your night to come and listen to us speak. I really hope that this has been beneficial for you and you've gained 1 or 2 things out of it. And Hugh will be in contact with you, and I hope that you have a lovely night.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Thanks, Sasha.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night.